this video.
Technology comes to the Bing, man. What's going on?
Got the Mississippi here.
Oh yeah, but you're upside down though.
Am I?
The metaphor for America. That's cool. You look great, man.
The mighty Mississippi
You're
here.
down to one chin, man. You look good. All right.
Well, it's crazy. The more Chinese food I
In the Big
consume,
Easy?
I thought I had more chins, as the famous Chinese name.
Oh, shit. I gotta figure whether
I'm in the Big Easy, buddy.
not, man. The Big Easy. All right. Nice.
The Big Easy's very hard.
You run into
nice.
Zion or what?
Yeah, and an all-you-could-eat buffet.
Are you serious?
No. I wonder where they play the Pelicans.
What are you talking about? You're joking around. The Superdome.
Oh, they play in the Superdome?
Yeah, of course they do, man. Yeah.
Oh, I thought they had their own spot.
Nah, come on, man. Yeah. You like Zion?
Yeah.
He's cool. I prefer Ja.
I like him, but he's always hurt. He's always hurt.
I think Ja, man. I think he's too ghetto though, but I like him, man. I like him, man.
Well, you show me a video of Co-op City. I mean, come on.
Yeah, oh yeah. I was gonna talk about that. Yo, that was I don't know if I should post that or not. I don't want to trigger too many people, but that's the old neighborhood. I can't believe it. It's but it was like that when we were growing up, right? What was it?
Not really.
25 years ago? 25 years ago was getting like that. Right.
Well, getting is one thing, but as you said, it's culture. I mean,
ghetto,
you know, growing up, we had stable families, and if anyone did you wrong, you could say, Marcus hit me or something, you're 5. Not that I did that.
Yeah.
Oh, I know his father. I'll go speak to his father.
Yeah.
And we all rational, right?
Yep.
Marcus, you don't do that, you know?
Yeah, the worst we used to do is pin people
Desmond,
down.
you don't do that, you know?
Yeah, the worst thing we used to do is pin people down in the stairwell or something like that, man, you know?
I never did that.
Oh, come on, man. Well, I didn't either. I'm just talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Right. Actually, I remember when I was about, what was it, like 8.5, you know? And ding, ding. I'm like, uh-oh.
Great movie, Fellini.
Yeah, here we go again. Yeah, here we go again. You know, it's 8:30. You know, something's wrong. Someone's knocking on the door. It can't be good. I'm in the bathroom in the old building, right, in Benchley Place, where we used to live across from old Wolfie, Big Wolfie and Little Wolfie. Anyway, aside from that, man, Terrence Jones and Peter Santinello and Garber and, you know, that crew, you know, and Garber, I got to put a play for, you know, yeah. And for,
you got to erase these names, man. You can't.
Oh, shoot. We had like the coolest Jewish, Black, Rican, Italian folk in the world, all in one, you know, one freaking three building complex.
Right.
Aside from that, man. And by the way, we were in section 4, so that's one notch away from 5, which was the legitimate ghetto, man. You have to remember that.
Are you saying section 8?
See, you were brought up privileged, man, in section 1.
Yes. So privileged, yes.
Privilege, man, you know. By the way, that video I showed you of Gangland, that was all around Tri-Salute, man. Take a look.
That's where I grew up. Oh, I didn't know they were gangs. I thought they were just kids.
Nah, they just wannabe, or maybe they wannabe, whatever, kids.
Yeah. How many of those kids do you think are reading?
Man.
How many of those kids do you think are reading Ethan Frome? Or Candide. Look, you see how I say it all the time? The same books all the time. Look, Ethan Frome, Candide. We're hammering this into people's skulls. You know, the same ones. Candide, Ethan Frome, you know.
I was going to say
I think
something.
It's hilarious, huh?
No, I was about to say something. I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm sorry, man.
What was I about to say? Wait, what was I about to say?
About the gangland and us all getting along.
I can't remember, man.
No?
Whatever. It'll come back to me one of these days. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you quickly about diabolical disorientation. Okay.
What is that?
Okay, so yeah, it's the idea that there's been a great separation of humanity, and it occurred. This is my only way to explain the madness that we're seeing in the world. And there's a great separation between people who are rational in thought, okay, and morally grounded, morally centered, right? And, yeah, I'm talking about in terms of eternal principles and values and so on, and so on and so forth, and the rest of humanity. The other around the other 99%. Okay, you know, I've noticed a decided movement away from rationality. Okay, this terrible downward spiral of insanity that we see
Right.
many
Moral relativism, no?
almost all of our peers. Yeah,
Yeah.
they can't seem to win an argument. They can't sustain an
Or engage in a good argument.
just even an open conversation. They think a fact is a fact when it's not a fact. It's either false news or it's just not a fact itself. It's just another opinion. I don't understand why they say they talk in facts when they're committed to the idea of, yes, a perfectly subjective world. So that doesn't make any sense. So what? Fact in terms of something I believe in? That's not a fact, right? It has to be grounded.
It's my opinion.
Outside of opinion. But anyway, there's a reason for this, and I suggested from a purely theological perspective that what happened was the loss of protection of the Holy Spirit, and goes back to a prophecy 2,000 years ago from Christ himself and Saint John the Evangelist, if I'm not mistaken, maybe Saint Paul as well too, I think, and if not Isaiah as well too, but that in the last days, and it actually gives evidence to the idea that we might be in the very last days, that this is the last thrust of evil now before the final judgment for all of us, right? And the second coming of Christ. That in the last days, the helper, whatever the helper is, will be withdrawn slowly but assuredly from humankind.
Oh yeah, I heard of that.
We'll be left to our own choices.
I just found out about that. Actually, may I just add one thing? That the Holy Spirit will come to you, and if you keep on pushing him away, he'll vacate. He'll say, "I'm done with you." Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's something that it's an end time scenario, and it's poetic justice, probably from God's point of view, to allow us the wages of our own decisions.
Oh yeah, sure.
Sins. And that's the only thing I could explain what I saw, and it coincides perfectly with the election of Donald Trump. I'm not saying that Donald Trump will not deceive us. I'm gonna throw that out there, and is not wittingly or unwittingly part of the movement towards the rise of the Antichrist and the beast system, the AI, 1984-esque beast system, but it's coincided with him. And apparently we have a date here, and I think it makes sense. So people are suggesting that the great movement away from goodness and the great separation of people, most of the lot of humanity sliding towards evil, it began around September 23rd, 2017. Okay, 2017. That was around the time when, it was right after the election, and people were already losing it before that, but they really started losing it after that, I've noticed. These are all people, the crazy of the world, saying that Trump has murdered the environment. That's a quote, actually.
That's a new thing, murdered, yeah.
Yeah, and that's when transsexuals just went completely, out for empowerment and completely normalized. If everyone in the world is trans or wants to be trans, and if you say you're not trans and you're not gay, then you're really gay and you're really trans. That was the argument.
Yeah, right? And what was baffling to me was the equation that Trump was Hitler. And I said, wow, I could remember being with my Aunt Barbara, who was a non-practicing Jew, and meeting her uncles who had numbers on their arms.
Wait.
And they explained
what are you talking about?
When I inquired, they told me they were in Germany and they were, I guess, imprisoned. I was about 5 years old. I didn't know what that meant. But to equate a president who was anti-war to being Hitler, who has family that is Jewish, I said, wow, as you said, moral relativism has gone off and there's no truth anymore. Right. Where are we going here? Where are we going?
I'm suggesting here there was a great separation, and it's increasing, that actually people who are committed to the idea of evil, they're embracing it more and becoming more evil. And the few who are holding on to God and his goodness are actually running back to being as good as they could possibly be. And they're running to the divine will.
So both
and
are
they're
going
running to the Latin church, for example. They're beginning to pray more and do the rosary more, which I would submit, which is an argument unto itself. That's in the movement of goodness.
So you're saying there's an extreme
movement. That's the full of the faith, and that's what God has intended for us. But anyway, it's coming to a great denouement, a great conclusion of humanity, and it's happening soon. And the evidence I have for all of this is that exorcists the top exorcists in the world, apparently there's evidence that the demons themselves, under penalty and force of Christ, in certain conditions during an exorcism, they are forced to tell the truth, and they all
Yeah,
are
I've
saying
heard
the
that
same thing.
from a couple of sources. Yeah,
But
right.
it's funny
That's part of the
because,
game.
yeah, but the demonic world seems to be, as told by these exorcists, under penalty and force of the Spirit of Christ, to tell the truth, that they're actually both celebrating the end time that's coming, and they're also terrified of the end time that's coming.
Yeah, so they're
They're
trying to get as many souls as possible.
right.
Am I
That's
correct?
what makes them happy, and they're incredibly giddy about the idea. They're excited about what's called the great harvesting, the great pinnacle, high point of evil in the world, where the will of Satan will be almost perfectly cast upon the world. Its shadow,
Right.
think about the Lord of the Rings, cast upon the world, and there'll be a great harvesting of souls. And they're excited
Yeah.
about that prospect. But at the same time, that follows the second coming of Christ and the last judgment and their final destination, which will be in the eternal pit of fire.
We've been talking about this for a long time. I'm just stymied by people's lack of knowledge and lack of thirst for knowledge, just irrationality. Like, there is a Muslim movement. It's been going on for a long period of time, maybe 1400 years. And of course, we go to the same silly arguments. Not every Muslim wants, we know that. But there are forces in the Muslim religion that are trying to take over the West, and they'll infiltrate us in any way possible. Those are the people I'm worried about. Yeah, I'm worried about if you find me an equivalent Christian who's trying to, push, I don't know, Hitler's views, I'm all against that too. Let's get them all. But it's obvious what's going on in Europe, and in the United States. So, but this irrationality that people have, that all cultures are the same, that all beliefs are the same, is madness. It's madness, and that's what's baffling to me.
So the argument goes that it probably happened around September 23rd, 2017, in fulfillment of the prophecy by John the Evangelist in Revelation 12 and I beheld a lady with a child in her arm. Who do you think that is? Clothed with the sun and standing on the moon with a crown of 12 stars. And there you go.
Yeah.
That relates to some astrological, or shall we say astronomy, occurrence that happened exactly on that date, where there was an alignment of the planets, and Virgo, which represents the lady, was in that position where the moon was at her feet and the sun was at her head.
Right.
Stars about her. Take a look at that. Okay, it's very interesting. But that might have happened. You think it might have happened from your experience that something happened around 2017, prior to COVID, a little bit prior to COVID, that actually could be the great watershed for evil? Just think about that.
Well, I'll tell you this. I think, might have started at that time, or maybe after the second election where Biden won. No, it was probably that time. I had an uneasiness in my stomach where I studied political science in college, and I was not surrounded by politicians, but I knew about it because my dad was involved, and I worked on some campaigns, but I never saw that evil where it was win or like kill your opponent, where they enacted all these policies.
Yeah, have you
So
ever
I'm
heard?
saying that trickled down to me having an uneasy feeling about the world as a whole, religion under assault and everything else.
Not only that, there used to be some sort of a consensus. Like,
Well, that's what we discussed.
we protected children, for example. Now they openly talk about that it's a movement in the direction of morality, and it's actually humanitarian to allow a little child to liberate themselves in terms of their transsexual predilections.
Forget it. Lying was, remember, if you lie.
We have to cut off their privates and mess up their body chemistry with hormone therapy for them to perfectly fulfill themselves at the age of 3 or 4 or 5.
Well, how could they? Man. There's a push to support to bring in millions of illegals, and we know what the long-term goal is. The goal is power and getting their vote. But then they throw in like, oh, humanity, we care for humanity. Come on. Come on. You don't. 99% of you don't. The way you're pushing this, it was all a power play. Then when we find out the truth, they push it around. Oh, the borders are secure. This or this. I mean, it's just madness, just complete lies. Look what just happened with the BBC, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
lied about the January 6th speech. I still have people who believe that Trump said both sides have good people, and that's all he meant. He said, except the neo Nazis and some other extreme groups, I think.
You're talking about
But it's all
Charlottesville.
been a lie.
With respect to Charlottesville, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all been a lie. And I think, you posted on social media, why do they have to lie and distort? Their policies have been polled. They're not popular. The
Mm.
transsexual movement, the illegals coming, it's not popular. So I think they have to lie and pervert the truth in order to get what they want. And there's a reason why they don't want ID to vote, right? Why don't you want ID? Well, 1% doesn't have ID. So leave it for them. The 1% who don't have ID.
But what
Why does
about?
everyone,
Oh yeah,
you
but the
know?
things that get me as being really wicked are things like um, abortion, allowing abortion at will among in the second trimester, in the third trimester, even in
Uh,
the ninth month. For goodness sake, now in New Zealand, apparently they're allowing babies to be born and just die in the gurney. Okay,
well, that makes
can you believe that?
sense.
Can you
Yeah.
believe that? Yeah, of course. Well, that's Peter Singer, who suggests that a woman has a right to decide whether a child should live within the first year or second year or third year because it's not fully,
How
sentient
about we
during that
push
period of
that
time.
over
Like,
to,
like, like the science is not on our
how
side,
about we push that to age
and as if
50?
that's the only argument, for goodness sake. Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Push it to age 50. So if I don't agree with my wife, maybe I could,
Yeah,
I'm
so
kidding. I'm
yeah,
kidding.
I have a former student. After all I did to help this guy, man, he comes out for me. He comes out for me when I posted something about Mother Teresa, where she said that a sign of a failing culture essentially is those that murder their young, of
Right.
course, in the womb. And he comes back and he says, "Oh, whatever." And then I said,
What's the
"Well,
argument against
I
that?
said, oh, I said, first of all, if life doesn't begin in the womb, where does it begin? If it begins just where a woman says it begins, then, and I think he's just recently married. Then I say, you better keep one a big eyed open when you go to sleep because she could just offer you when she likes, right? You
Well,
know
someone posted something. I don't know how true it is with AI, but Selena, the former singer who was murdered, said what I've been saying.
what?
And I've been lied to. Maybe we shouldn't have premarital sex. You only have sex with your wife and have children.
Well, what did
Then
she
that would
say?
eliminate a lot of shit.
Well, what did she say? What did she say?
That you shouldn't have sex
Oh, she
until you're
said that.
married,
Oh,
and you shouldn't have sex, yeah, until you're married because you want to have children and you're with this one person. That would eliminate the need for abortion because you marry the person you love, supposedly.
right.
You have to, do that. Excuse me, my thumb's in the frame. And then you have children with these people. We could eradicate all of this silliness of when does it start? When is a person a person? Look, I always said this: if you do nothing, a child is born. And yeah, it is a woman's body, but she has another human being growing in her. We all been through every process of abortion, first trimester, second, third of being born, not abortion. It's not that complicated, but once again, the left have to make this psychobabble as we keep going back to 1984 and making it complicated.
All right, man. All right, let's wind this down.
Yeah.
Any last words on the Big Easy?
No, I mean, I
Yeah.
love the fur, and I'm in Louisiana, and I'm going back home to New York tomorrow.
Yeah, but tell
Blessings
me, tell
to
me
you.
some good things about New Orleans in comparison to New York.
Well, I don't like, you always love to compare. That's you, compare and contrast. New Orleans is a small, beautiful little city with incredible culture. The people are so kind.
Really?
Uh, they don't mind where you're from. They respect where you're from.
What about
The food is
politically?
outstanding.
I was a little worried about that. What about politically? What's their
Oh,
sentimentality?
I don't know. I haven't. I mean, who was the big politician I was here?
Oh,
Kingfish, wasn't he?
okay.
Uh,
Louis Armstrong?
wasn't that?
I don't know.
No, the guy. I forget his name. I forget his name. He was a big politician,
I mean, the governor,
Democratic
you mean.
machine. Yeah, the Democratic machine.
Well, you have Senator Kennedy as well, too, right?
Oh, Kennedy's great. He's on point,
Yeah.
but I
Give me
haven't
some
really looked
Kennedy.
into it.
Give me some Kennedy Wittism before we leave.
He
Yeah.
said one thing about AOC. He said AOC, I believe, is the reason why shampoo bottles have instructions. Yeah, he said that.
All
I
right.
think he's a Rhodes Scholar too.
Yeah, he is a Rhodes Scholar. Yeah, but he
Wow,
has that slow Southern drawl, so you
it's
expect it
beautiful.
not. It goes
I
against
love
type,
it.
right? Oh
Yeah,
man. Oh, he's brilliant though, man.
yeah. All
God
right,
bless. All
I'll
right.
call you later.
We'll continue. I want to talk about the lessons of Mondani.
All
I have to
right,
say his name correctly now that he's our newest communist leader, for goodness sake.
you
Right?
got it. All right, guys.
Peace in the
All
Middle
right.
East.
Bye.